Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to be making the rear fenders for the Baja Bug. I already did make a pair a long time ago. That was for the trailing arm suspension that I made. Now that I've redone it with the A-arm rear suspension, I need, with the A-arm suspension, I'm getting more compression out of the suspension. So I need to raise the wheel wells a little bit. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the Bug, I'm gonna take the shocks off the rear, I'm gonna take the shocks off the front, and I'm gonna let it sit down on the bump stops on the rear and on the front. And then once I've got it sitting on the bump stops, which will mean the tires will be up as high as they'll ever go, then I'm gonna fabricate a pair of fenders right over that, and then at that point I'll come up with whatever I need to in order to fasten it to the body. So I got the Bug sitting on the bump stops now, front and rear. I got the shock absorbers pulled out of the front, so it's sitting on the bump stops. Shock absorbers pulled out of the rear, so it's sitting on the bump stops. So she's pretty low, pretty funny looking actually. So what I need to do now is, now that I know what I'm gonna be working with, I need to start looking at what my options are. Meaning, these are the fenders I made before. Do I see if I can make these work? I'll have to cut off the brackets that I had on here before so that I've got something to start with. So yesterday I ground off all the tabs that I had on these fenders. These were the fenders that I had on here originally, but they won't fit with the new A-arm suspension. What I have found is this contour that these have, I think will still work. This line on here is where these went before. Obviously, they won't fit at this point, but I think I can still use this contour. I'll have to make some minor changes to it with the grinder, but I'm thinking at this point, if I just find the position that I want for this fender, you can see it's a pretty good fit. Then if I just make new brackets, this will work. Hey guys, let's see where we're at here. So I've got the driver's side is done. Let's take a look at it. I've got the fender here. It's got 3 mounting points. It's got this one here. It's got this one here. It's got this one, I guess technically maybe you could call this 4 mounting points because this one's got a support coming out to the side. It's real solid. I'm real happy with it. I was able to get this one at a 90 degree here. which is good. I think that'll give it a good look when it's done. When I did these first go around, they had a little bit of they angled in a little bit. This one I was able to get it nice and flat, so that'll be good. I was able to utilize most of these brackets from the first go around. This one here I did have to remake, but that was no big deal. And this is the same cutout of aluminum that I used on the first go around. I was able to position it so that this indentation still fit in that body line. I had to do a little bit of trimming through here, and I did do a little trimming off here just because I wasn't real happy with the way that I had it shaped on the other one. So this one I gave it more of a blunt for the cutoff, which I think looks good. It sits up higher than the fenders that were on there before. If you look inside here, this line is where the fender was before. So the fender is now a couple inches higher, and it got moved a couple inches forward because when I went from the swing arm to the A-arm suspension, I moved the wheel 3 inches farther in. So that made it so that I had to also move the fender well in some. Where I'm at now, I need to transfer the fender position from the driver's side over to the passenger side. Really difficult on these bug bodies because everything is round. I can't take too many specific measurements off of my suspension because there may be some deviations since it's all custom built from one side to the other. So in a situation like this, what I'm doing is this line here I want to replicate on the other side, and I want to transfer this to the other side, and then I want to build that other fender as close to this as possible. If I have to make some deviations, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that, but I want a starting point. So what I've done is I've started laying masking tape strips across this, and I've gone all the way down. What I'm going to do is with a razor blade, I'm going to follow this line, and then I'm going to cut along the edge of the stock fender here, and then I'm going to take it all the way to the edge and to this edge. When I pull off all of those scrap pieces, then I'm going to peel off the piece that remains in one piece. Then I'm going to stick it on a piece of construction paper. I'm going to trace it out on that construction paper. Then I'm going to take that construction paper, flip it over, and use it to transfer this line onto the other side. So what I've got now, this is the tape that I peeled off the other side. I stuck it to construction paper. I then cut out. I cut out on the fender line, which is right here, and then I cut on the line where the new fender is going to be. And then I cut the edges. I marked, these are identifiers for where these bolts are, just as reference points. This is a reference point of the body crease. These are reference points of the bolt holes on the other side. I'm not necessarily trying to get this one exactly where those are, but it'll be nice to have a reference point. This is a reference point as to where the fender stops, and these are reference points that I'm going to transfer onto the body, and then I'll transfer these onto the fender as well, moving them from the other one. So it'll give me an idea of where the fender needs to be. So now I flip this over. So now I'm just going to hold it up here and match as many things as I can. The body crease line, I can feel the body crease underneath that. This is with the body here. These are lining up pretty close to where these bolts are. And now I've got a really good, pretty accurate reference line to start laying out the fender on this side. That's going to help me get this fender at the same basic height and then position forward and back as the other one. I'm of course going to really measure it off of the tire at full compression because that's the most important, but I want this as a reference line so that I can keep it as consistent as possible. So after I transferred those marks over, then I laid out this fender just like I laid out the other side. I was able to make it so that it followed the line that I transferred from the other side, which matched the tire at full compression. I've got it jacked up right now. So that all worked out really well, and it made it so that this fender is very symmetrical to the other one. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I appreciate it. I hope like I've said in some of my other videos, it can give you some motivation to go work on some project of your own, whatever it might be. So hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Take care.